Hello children, good morning all of you. Good morning students.
Morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Morning ma'am. Good morning everyone. I hope you all are fit and fine at your home, right? Is it children? You all are fit and fine? You all
Yes,
are
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Chalo, let's start our class. Today we are going to study about nutrition in human being, right? Okay, so can anybody tell me what do you understand from the term nutrition? Any one of you?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
can
may
I
I?
say?
Yes, Pratishtha, say the answer.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, nutrition is the process by which an organism takes food and utilizes it to get energy for growth, repair, maintenance, etc. Ma'am, and after that, then it is the waste is excreted out of our body.
Yes, very good. Right. So nutrition means it is the most important life process where omnivorous. Omnivorous means eating both plant product as well as eating both animal product, plant and animals, right? Where an organism take in food and utilize it for getting energy and for growth and development. So today we will start from nutrition in human being. So here you can see it is a holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition means where an organism take the food as a whole, taking food as a whole and showing the process of ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion, right? And they are as we human being we are eating chicken, mutton, right? So this is a animal product or animal flesh, right? So we are considered as a omnivorous, right? So nutrition in human being, it takes place by the help of a digestive system. It takes place by the help of the digestive system. Our digestive system consists of two parts, that is alimentary canal and the second one is associated gland. One is alimentary canal, second one is associated gland. So alimentary canal in a man is a long continuous hollow and muscular tube in which the food moves and the process of digestion and absorption is completed. Okay, so alimentary canal is a long tube like structure starting from the mouth and getting and at the anus, right? Getting and at the anus. So this is alimentary canal. It includes, first part is the mouth. Okay, this is the mouth you can see. This one is the mouth. Okay, mouth leads to the buccal cavity. This portion include the buccal cavity. Then after buccal cavity opens at the pharynx. Pharynx open into the long tube-like structure you can see, which is known as esophagus. Okay, esophagus open into the stomach. Stomach open into the first part of small intestine known as duodenum. This is the duodenum, first part of the small intestine. Then duodenum leads to the ileum, right? Ileum, jejunum. Then it open at the large intestine. You can see this one is the large intestine. Large intestine open into the rectum and rectum open to the outside by the help of anus. So our alimentary system, alimentary canal, it contain mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, small intestine, large intestine, then next one is the rectum, and the last one is the anus, right children? So these are the part of alimentary canal which we will discuss in this class. Okay, then beside alimentary canal some glands, associated glands helps in digestion. So what are they? Now first one is salivary glands, right? Salivary glands. You can see in the picture this one, salivary gland. They are three in pairs, three pairs of salivary gland present in our body. Okay, what are they? Now first one is parotid gland, second one is sublingual gland, and the third one is submandible gland or submaxillary gland, right? Then next gland which help in digestion, the largest gland of our body, that is liver, right? You can see in the digestive system of human being, liver, the most important digestive gland and the largest gland of our body. Then the third one is pancreas. Third one is pancreas. You can see this one, this leaf-like structure present between stomach and this large intestine. You can see here, this one is a stomach and this one is a large intestine, and this yellow color which I was indicating, this one is the pancreas. Okay, the third one is pancreas. Is it clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So our alimentary canal consists of mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus, and associated glands which help in digestion of food. They are salivary glands, liver, pancreas, right? Liver, salivary gland, and pancreas, they are the associated gland. Okay, means associated gland means they are present outside the alimentary canal, but helps and they plays an important role in digestion. They plays an important role in digestion. So once again, look at the parts of human alimentary canal, children. Mouth leads to buccal cavity. Buccal cavity opens at pharynx. Pharynx opens at esophagus. Esophagus open into stomach. Stomach leads to small intestine. In small intestine, liver and pancreas, they pour their secretion for complete digestion of a food, which helps in complete digestion of food. Then small intestine, it opens into large intestine. From large intestine, the food goes to rectum where it gets stored. Then after that, rectum open to the outside with the help of anus. Okay, what are the associated gland? The salivary gland, they do their activity in buccal cavity. What are the other two remaining associated gland? The liver and pancreas. I hope the parts of human alimentary canal is clear to everyone. So let me play the video here. So here you can see food from buccal cavity goes to esophagus. Then from esophagus, it goes to stomach. Then from stomach, food undergo partial digestion. Then it goes to small intestine, children. You can see the direction of food in a small intestine. In a small intestine contains a finger-like projection known as villi, which help in the absorption of food, which increase the surface area for the absorption of food. Then food goes to large intestine, where absorption of water take place. You can see in this video. After absorption of water, here lubrication also take place with the help of mucus. Then the food goes to rectum, where it gets stored. After that, this food, undigested food materials released to the outside through anus, right? Undigested waste material which get stored in the rectum. After when it get full, it released to the outside through anus. Okay, then we will study about each and every part of alimentary canal in detail. So here you can see, children, mouth and buccal cavity. The first part of alimentary canal is mouth and buccal cavity. So we will study about it in detail. You can see in the diagram. Okay, whenever we are eating food, we are opening our mouth, children, right? After that, our mouth leads to buccal cavity. In our mouth, buccal cavity, okay, here ingestion of food take place. Ingestion means what? Taking in food. Okay, before explaining this one, let me tell you the most important steps of nutrition. Children, the first one is, here I am writing ingestion. First one is ingestion. Second one is digestion. Third one is absorption. Fourth one is assimilation. And the last one, fifth one is egestion. So first thing, what do you mean by ingestion, children? Ingestion means taking in food. Okay, so in order to take in food, we are opening our mouth, right? Then after that, what happened? Our buccal cavity contains teeth, tongue, and 3 pairs of salivary glands. So whatever food we are eating, then we are cutting it, grinding it, masticating it with the help of teeth. So most important function of teeth is to grind the food, to chew the food. Chewing the food, grinding the food, right? Okay. Then masticating it. Mastication of food take place with the help of teeth. And tongue, it is the muscular structure which help in knowing the taste of the food, because tongue contain taste bud, because our tongue contain taste buds, right? Then this tongue also help in mixing the food with saliva. Salivary gland produce a secretion known as saliva, which contain an enzyme known as salivary amylase, which help in the digestion of starch into maltose. Maltose is a simple sugar. Are you getting my point, children? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it
Yes,
clear?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So salivary gland, they are of 3 pairs. Okay. Every day, salivary gland produces 1 liter of saliva. Saliva is the secretion of salivary gland, right, which contain an enzyme known as salivary amylase, which help in the digestion of starch into maltose. Okay. So whatever the starch related food we are eating, it get converted into a sugar when the starch coming in contact with the salivary amylase of the saliva, right? Then the next one is, it help in smell, sight, or even thought of food can initiate secretion of saliva. So whenever we have a good smell of food, okay, when we are seeing the tasty food like pizza, chicken, we like that one, no, actually. So whenever we are thinking about food, then it help in the secretion of saliva. Our salivary gland activated, and that lead to the production of the saliva. है ना, मुंह पे पानी आ जाता है जब भी हम कोई खाना देखते हैं. This is because of what? Secretion of saliva by the help of salivary gland. Then what happens to mouth, to food in mouth or buccal cavity? So in mouth, we chew or masticated the food, then it get mixed with water and mucus of saliva. Then whatever the starch present in food, it get converted into maltose by the help of salivary amylase in saliva. Salivary amylase, its another name is Trilene. Okay, salivary amylase, its another name is trilene. Okay, same thing, both are same. Then after that, our food get converted into a ball-like structure, which is known as bolus. Okay, after masticating, grinding, chewing the food, mixing it with water, it get converted into a ball-like structure known as bolus. Then we are swallowing the food with the help of tongue. Okay, right? With the help of tongue, we are swallowing the food. Then this food goes to our esophagus. Then this food, where it goes? It goes to our esophagus. Right, children? Now, children, here I will do one activity. Right? One activity to show starch is converted into sugar by the action of salivary amylase. So what I will do here? Here I have taken 2 test tube. You can see these are the 2 test tube, right? Okay, children, I hope it is visible to everyone. This 2 test tube I have taken. This 2 test tube contain starch. Test tube A, test tube B, both contain starch solution. Now what I will do, this one is the test tube A and this one is the test tube B, right? Okay, in test tube A, I will not add anything. In test tube A, this one, I will not add anything. Now in this test tube B, I will add saliva. So in this test tube C, I have contained saliva, and this saliva, I will take the saliva from this test tube C. This is the saliva, and I will keep it in the test tube B. I will add it in the test tube B. Here I have added the saliva in the test tube B. So test tube B contains starch solution, where I have added the saliva, and here this test tube A only contain the starch. But now what I will do, children, okay, I will add iodine solution. Here you can see iodine solution. I will take the iodine solution with the help of dropper. You can see the dropper. Here I will take the iodine solution. Then what I will do, I will add, you can see, I will add iodine solution in both the test tube. You can see, right? In both the test tube, I will add iodine solution. You can see, children. Now I will shake it. Properly, I will shake it. Can you just notice the change in the color? Can you just notice the change in color? Can anybody notice the change in color? Just check it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Yes.
So in one test
Yes.
tube, I had taken 2 test tube. In both the test tube, I have taken the starch solution, right? Okay, in test tube A, I have not added saliva. In test tube B, I have added the saliva solution, which I have taken from my mouth, right? So after adding iodine solution in both the test tube, okay, the test tube which only contains starch solution get converted into blue-black color. You can see it converted into a blue-black color. But the test tube which contains saliva, it is not converting into blue-black color, remains what? Brown, yellowish brown in color. You can see, children. Then how is it possible? Can you think? Let me tell you, children, when we are adding saliva in starch solution, then this saliva convert starch into sugar, and iodine solution doesn't react with sugar solution. Iodine solution react only with starch solution, converting it into the blue-black in color, right? So the test tube A, which only contains starch solution, it reacts with the iodine solution and get converted into blue-black in color. But the test tube B, which contain both starch and saliva, okay, then this starch get converted into sugar, and after the addition of iodine solution, it is not changing any it is not changing into any color. It don't show any color change because it is no longer remaining starch. No, it's become a sugar. I hope it is clear to everyone. Children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can anybody
Yes,
just
ma'am.
tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can anybody tell me, when we are chewing bread in our mouth, after some time its taste become sweet? What is the reason? Can anybody tell me the answer?
Ma'am, when we chew the bread in our mouth for a short period of time, there is a presence of salivary amylase in our saliva. So when that mixes with the bread, it breaks down the starch content in our in the bread, present in the bread, into sugar. So that is why it tastes sweet after some time.
Very good, Bhumika. You have given the right answer. Now come to the next part, esophagus. After that, the bolus from mouth. Okay, it goes to the esophagus. Esophagus, here digestion, actually no digestion take place. Whatever the digestion of starch, like action of saliva is continuing in esophagus, right? So esophagus is the long tube-like structure which connect pharynx to stomach. Pharynx is the part which act as the common passage for both air and water, right? Pharynx is the passage, common passage for air and water. So esophagus connect pharynx to stomach. It helps in the transportation of food from mouth to stomach by peristalsis. So peristalsis means, children, contraction and relaxation of the muscle present in esophagus help in the forward direction of the food. And this type of movement is known as peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement, right? Esophagus, our whole alimentary canal is made up of involuntary muscles, right? So when food from mouth goes to esophagus, the esophagus wall is made up of muscles. So this rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles pushes the food in the forward direction. The process is known as peristalsis and the movement is known as peristaltic movement. And one thing remember, here no digestion take place in esophagus, but the continuation of the action of salivary amylase can take place, but after reaching stomach, the food, okay, their action of gastric juice take place. Clear? Then the next part is stomach. Then our next part is stomach. Let me show you. Stomach, here you can see it is a hollow J-shaped muscular organ. Here, stomach secrete gastric juice. Stomach wall contain gastric gland. Gastric gland secrete what? Na gastric juice, right? Gastric juice contain three components. One is hydrochloric acid. Second one is mucus. Third one is gastric enzymes, right? What are the gastric enzymes, children? Pepsin and gastric lipase, right? So stomach, it has three most important component in its gastric juice. One is hydrochloric acid, mucus and gastric enzyme. So here pepsin. Pepsin most important activity is to digest the protein related food material, but partial digestion take place here, not complete digestion, because complete digestion take place in our small intestine. Gastric lipase, it help in the digestion of a fat, but not the complete one. This thing you remember. So most important role is played by actually pepsin. Clear? After stomach, the food goes to the small intestine. So before studying about the small intestine, let's see what happens to food in stomach cavity. So after bolus reach to stomach, it get mixed with the digestive juice. Stomach is a bag-like structure, which is also a muscular structure. The churning activity of muscles help in mixing food with the digestive juice, gastric juice. Gastric juice, as it contains hydrochloric acid, makes our food acidic in nature. When the food becomes acidic in nature, then only pepsin can do its activity. Otherwise, pepsin can't do its activity in the absence of acidic environment. So hydrochloric acid, after making food acidic, pepsin do its activity, converts protein into peptone, and in the same way, gastric lipase break down the lipid partially, not completely. Then what happens? Our food goes to the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. So entry of food into the duodenum from stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle, right? By the help of sphincter muscle. So sphincter muscle regulate the the entry of food into the small intestine from the stomach. Okay, now here I will show you one video, one of the most amazing video from Tata classes. It will clear your concept.
Digestive System 2. In the Digestion System 1, we learned about the digestion process until it reached the esophagus. In this session, we will learn about the remaining digestive process and system. The food bolus enters from esophagus into the stomach. The stomach is a muscular structure that functions as a storage site, and it partially digests food. The stomach secretes hydrochloric acid and an enzyme called pepsin. The acid destroys harmful bacteria, and the pepsin hydrolyzes protein in the stomach's highly acidic environment. The food becomes a loose, watery mass called chyme. Chyme passes through the pyloric sphincter, present at the junction of the stomach and intestine, into the duodenum, the first section of the small intestine. The pancreas secretes enzymes, namely pancreatic lipase, trypsinogen, and pancreatic amylase, into the duodenum. The lipase digests lipids. Trypsinogen is converted into active trypsin and digests proteins. Amylase digests carbohydrates. The liver secretes bile juice and stores it in the gallbladder. Bile flows into the duodenum and emulsifies fats to facilitate absorption. Chyme digests totally in the intestine. The small intestine has microscopic projections called villi, which absorb about 95% of the nutrients. Carbohydrates and amino acids are absorbed by the capillaries in the villi, and lipids are absorbed by the lymphatic vessels called lacteals in the villi. The large intestine consists of the cecum and colon. Cecum in humans is a finger-like extension called an appendix. It is a vestigial organ in humans. The colon absorbs water from undigested food. Waste product or feces from the digestive tract is expelled out of the rectum through an opening called the anus.
I hope the topic is clear to everyone. Children,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
video
Yes,
is very much interesting, right? And with the help of this video, it makes our concept more clear. So what happened now, after stomach, the food goes to small intestine first part, that is duodenum, right? Okay. Then in duodenum, secretion of liver, secretion of pancreas comes there to digest the food, right? So first what happened when food reaches the duodenum, liver, which is the largest gland in our body, its secretion known as bile juice, which contain bile pigment plus bile salt, and it comes to the duodenum where it helps in the emulsification of fats, and makes the environment alkaline in nature, right? So whatever the food in stomach, it is acidic. After reaching to duodenum, the first part of small intestine, it get converted into alkaline due to the secretion of liver, that is bile juice. So liver produces bile juice, right? After production, it gets stored in gallbladder. When the food known as chyme, acidic food chyme, from stomach reaches duodenum, this gallbladder releases what? Now the secretion of liver, that is bile juice, into the duodenum, where the bile juice make the food alkaline in nature to facilitate the action of pancreatic enzyme, that is trypsin, lipase, and amylase, and also help in the emulsification of fats. Emulsification of fat means, children, emulsification is the reduction of the surface tension of fat and breaking them into the tiny droplet. That means the conversion of large globules of fat into smaller globules. Then the next one is then large intestine. The small intestine, after digestion and absorption of food, undigested food material goes to the large intestine. Can anybody tell me what is the function of large intestine? From the diagram itself, you can see and say the answer. You can see the diagram of large intestine. Any one of you children?
Ma'am, when the undigested food matter passes through large intestine, the large intestine absorbs the excess amount of water present in that mass and sends it to the other parts of the body wherever it's required, and then the undigested food passes through.
Right. So here in large intestine, absorption of water take place, and remaining undigested waste material, food material, which is known as feces, right? It gets stored in the rectum, right? Then when the rectum gets full, it opens to the exterior through the anus, and the opening of rectum to the outside through anus is regulated by the sphincter muscle known as anal sphincter. The anal sphincter regulates the opening of anus to the outside, which help in exit of food through anus. Clear? Then come to the next part. Okay, so what happened to food in large intestine or colon? Water is absorbed by the wall of rectum. Indigested food turn into feces. Feces ejected out of body through rectum or anus. Absorption of digested food. How absorption of digested food take place? The digested food is absorbed by the villi of the small intestine. Villi, which is the finger-like projection, which is present in million of number, increases the surface area, and which is richly supplied with the blood vessel, help in absorbing the food material. And in Tata classes, one video is there which will help you to draw the diagram very easily. So I hope everyone will open your copy and you will draw it. Let me play the video. Look at the video and start doing it.
To start making the diagram of the human alimentary canal, draw a silhouette of the upper half of the human body. Draw an arc-like structure above the mouth to show the oral cavity. Below the mouth, draw two tiny irregular structures to show the salivary glands. Just above the oral cavity, draw a small triangular structure to show the parotid gland. Extend the oral cavity downwards by drawing a tube-like structure to show the pharynx and esophagus. At the lower end of the esophagus, draw two dome-shaped structures on either sides to show the diaphragm. Below the left dome of the diaphragm, draw a triangular structure with round edges to show the liver. Draw a transverse line on the liver to show the lobes of the liver. From the base of the liver, draw a tiny balloon-like structure to show the gallbladder. Connect the esophagus to an inverted C-shaped sac-like structure to show the stomach. Just below the stomach, draw a flat, elongated and tapering structure to show the pancreas. Draw a tubular structure from the base of the stomach to show the duodenum. Continue the duodenum downwards to show the jejunum. Continue drawing a coiled tube-like structure from the jejunum to show the ileum. On the left-hand lower corner, show the ileum connecting to a thicker tube-like structure placed vertically to show the cecum and ascending colon. Draw a tiny tail-like structure at the base of the cecum to show the appendix. continue drawing the thick tube-like structure horizontally to show the transverse colon. At the end of the descending colon, show a cylindrical tubular structure to show the rectum. At the end of the rectum, show a small, narrow, elongated structure to show the anus. Here is the complete diagram of the human alimentary canal.
I hope this beautiful video of Tata class is make your doubt more clear regarding drawing the diagram of human alimentary canal. Is it, children? Is it very helpful for you? Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you all have drawn it in your copy. Those who have not drawn, do not worry. I will send this video in your WhatsApp group. From there, you can refer it and complete your diagram. Now, children, this concept will be more clear when you will see the concept diagram. So here you can see the concept diagram. Just let me make it enlarged, right? So this is very easy to understand, children. I hope the concept of digestive system is clear to everyone. Is it clear, everyone, children?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to take out your copy. Just I'm giving homework also, right? The first question, you just write down what I have shared here from Tata classes exercise. This question you have to do it in your copy. The question number 1, all of you write, I'm dictating. You also look at your screen, which I had shared from Tata classes exercise, and do it at your home after the class. How does mastication of food take place in the buccal cavity? So can just anybody tell me the answer of it? How does the mastication of food takes place in the buccal cavity?
Ma'am, with the help of teeth, the mastication of food takes place. Usually, the teeth help in cutting, tearing, and grinding of the food materials, so that they are broken down into smaller pieces.
Okay, very good. I hope you all have written this question. Let's come to the next question. Draw the longitudinal section of human tooth and describe its part. Come to the next question. Discuss the importance of liver in digestion. So these 3 questions are your homework. You have to do at your home. Okay. So before ending the meeting, let me see whether you have learned something from it or not. So let me open the worksheet. From that worksheet, you have to answer the whatever the question written there, you have to answer that one. So here you can see the worksheet. Question number 1. Immediately you have to say the answer, children. Name the digestive enzyme present in saliva.
Amylase.
Yes. Salivary amylase. Very good. Who will tell me the function of salivary amylase?
Ma'am, it breaks down insoluble starch matter into soluble sugar.
Right. Very good. Now come to the question number 4. Name the component of gastric juice. What are the component of gastric juice, children?
Ma'am, hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and mucus.
Yes, hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and mucus. Right. Then come to the question number 5. State the function of hydrochloric acid in stomach.
Yes, ma'am. Hydrochloric acid is an essential acid in the stomach. It helps destroy bacteria as well as other harmful species. It also works as a preservative of food. HCl converts pepsinogen, which is not active, into pepsin to metabolize proteins in our stomach. HCl also acts as another stomach cover apart from mucus to avoid the pepsin to digesting the entire stomach.
Very good. Most of the students, they have written the answer. So nicely, you people are writing and replying and saying the correct answer. Very nice, all of you. So these are the worksheet that this also I will send it in your WhatsApp group and you will do it in your copy. So this is all about digestive system. I hope you all have enjoyed it. You have learned a lot of things from this virtual classroom. So all of you, take care of yourself. Stay healthy, stay safe. You bye. Take care.